Hello everyone, it's Trina McClune here from sunny New Zealand. We're heading into winter, it's autumn at the moment, but it's a beautiful day outside. I'm a bit worried about the light actually because it's quite blinding, but once we get down and work on the table we'll be fine. So I'm really excited to be here with you all. I am doing a very cute project. We'll just get a bit closer for you. Basically these are the metal frames that Prima put out at the last CHA, and they are gorgeous. They're just so much fun to work with, and there's loads of different shapes, and it's just a matter of finding the one that you like. But today we're working with this one. I think it looks really cute on a desk or a mantelpiece or something like that. I'm sure you guys are going to love it. I'm just going to try and keep checking on my computer so I don't lose track of what's going on. Hello, I can see you saying hello to me. Yay, hello. It's fabulous, you can see me, so we can get started. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Oops. Hope it doesn't fall down anywhere because I'm going to need it at the end of it so we can save it for later. Okay, so as I said, what we're doing is we're going to work on this today, and what I've done is I've actually put together old and new Prima, and it's one of the things I really love to do because I think Prima is one of those classic things that you can use over and over and over again. And so if I've got old stuff, I'll mix it in with the new stuff, and it really adds a certain, I don't know, what do you call it, just something that makes it really pop, and it's a bit special because you may not have seen it for a couple of years, and so it looks great. And so the new stuff that we're using is of course the metal frame, and some of the old stuff we're using, and what I'm going to do is, just before I do that, is pop this down so you can see things a bit better down here. That's where I'm going to be working today. Is the something blue papers, and what I did is I have grabbed one of the 6x6 paper pads, and I've also grabbed the collection kit, and I love these kits because what they do is, and you'll see that I've actually used quite a bit already, is that they give you about 3 of each design paper. Actually it might be just 2. 1, 2, yeah, 2 of each paper, and then at the back you've got things like these little journaling spots, and you also get stickers, and you also get tons and tons of alphabet. And as you can see, I've already used some of it, and I've already used some of the papers as well. And so I've pulled the papers out of here, and you can see we're going to be using some of that. And then on the 6x6 paper pads, you get the same exact papers but on small size. So for example, if we have a look at that beautiful bird paper, it's identical but just on a different size. And what that does is it means that these birds are quite big and they're perfect for scrapbooking and for some cards that you design, but for some of the smaller cards you want the little birds, so you can get them that way as well. So that's what we're using there with something blue. This is how the metal frame comes, and this metal frame is number 892401, and we're also going to be using some chalk inks. I adore the chalk inks. The ones that we're using today are Tin Can and Old Road, and possibly I'll just use the well, I'm not sure, Old Road, we'll see. Both of them are very cool. We are going to be using a brand new die that Prima brought out. This is gorgeous, and you'll see how it turns out in a minute, but here's a wee sneak peek. Isn't that delightful? And that is doily number 1, and it's number 572785. What else are we going to be using here? Oh, stamps. I've got a whole heap of stamps because I wanted to show you. I'm using one which is, I don't know if you can see that very well there, but then I thought, well, you could actually use anything. So I've got a few here that we could potentially use. Prima have so many gorgeous little stamps that you can just choose whichever one you want. the wildflower packs. These are one of my all-time favourites. The reason I love them is because you get this great big amazing cylinder that you can decorate afterwards, and inside there are just tons and tons of flowers, and because they're white you can decorate them, you can stamp them, you can spray them, you can do anything you want. In this case we're just going to use white ones, and that's fine. You can do that as well. Now the other thing we're going to be using is some of these are some of the older flowers, and these ones are called Tatiana, and I've got the white and the coral, and you can see them just popping out of the frame in here. Okay, I'm just going to have a wee quick look at this here. Someone's saying you love my voice. Do you know what? I love your guys' accents. When I was in the States teaching last year, it was amazing and I had so much fun with it. Okay, so these ones, I'll give you the number, 529567 Wildflowers Pillar Pack. I believe they come in different colours, but I always get the white because then you can colour it whatever colour you want. Okay, moving right along, we'll talk about those. Here are some, I love Prima how they do the little tiny flowers, because they can go into different parts of your, whether it's a layout or a card or whatever you like, they can go in there and just fill up that little gap. In this case, I'm going to take this out because it's, oh, the light is terrible, isn't it? Can you guys see that? And they're teeny tiny little roses. And these ones are a caramel, well they call it caramel, but it's kind of a peachy colour, and it's neat because you get different shaped flowers and also different colours, but they're all in the same colour tone so that you can actually use them and graduate the colours in your layouts and in your work. Okay, and the other thing which I adore are the old wood embellishments from Prima. And in this instance we're using clocks, and I've just given you a couple of packets here to show you what we're using, because it doesn't matter what you choose. In this instance, this one here is from the romance novel collection, and you can see there's some beautiful pinks, and there's little tickets in there as well, and that one is 559199. And this one here, I love this one in particular. Can you see how the middle is cut out of it? Isn't that cool? Anyway, that one is 554613. So we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Lace. I adore Prima's lace that it brings out. Again, this is one that's a bit older. I can't remember, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago that it came out, maybe a bit longer. And the item number is 545512. But we're going to colour that because at the moment it's not going to go very well, but we're just going to paint it and make it look really cool. And it will fit in just perfectly. So, shall we get started? I'm going to have a wee look and see what you're all saying. And are there any questions before we move on while I'm looking? I heard someone say, what am I making? I'll show you here. We're going to make this. Cool. Okay. We will move on now that I've just had a wee catch up, and I'm going to do that every now and again because I think I forgot last time, and anyway. So first off, this frame, we're going to take this off the back of it. I'm just going to cut that off, although that could be used for something later on. So could the tag for that matter. It's very cute. And on the back is what holds it up. And so it's just a little piece of metal that moves, and there's a really good little stopper that stops it from moving too much, so it'll stay up. For the purpose of doing this class, we're just going to keep it closed so that you can lay it flat. And on the inside is a pretty picture, which is fabulous. And we're going to use this as our template to get the inside shape. And I chose this paper to use. Oh, I'm really worried about this light. I'm going to try and just change it a little bit. Is that any better? There we go. So it's got really cool circles on it. And what I did is I just placed the template right on the edge so that you don't have to do too much cutting, and go around it with a pencil, and then just grab your scissors and cut it out. Now the trick for this is, because this fit in just perfectly, what you want to do is just cut slightly on the inside so that when it's cut out it fits in nicely. And I have got one here which I pre-cut to save us some time, and there it is. And what I'm going to do is, not that you're going to see it in there, but I just like to give things a bit of an ink around the edges anyway. So I'll just quickly do that, and then we can stick it in. Now in the original, this one here, I just stuck it straight onto the back of the metal frame. But what I'm going to do this time is I have also used the template just to cut out some bits of old cardboard that I had lying around, and I'm going to stick them together. And by doing that and then sticking them in the frame first, you get a bit more height on the embellishments that you're putting in, and then it won't be so far back, and the light will sit nicely on it when it's sitting on the shelf. And what I've done in this case is I've just put the two sides together so they just fit into each other. Probably not perfectly, but that doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. And then pop some more glue on the back. Now I'm using a Halma 450 glue, and it's one of my favourite glues. I'm going to have to start buying shares in it, I think. So what we can see there is I've just popped that in, and it's just sitting on the back wall, and it's just given it probably, I don't know, a centimetre lift from the back of the wall. And then I'm just going to stick some more glue on the front part here, and we can put our base in. Now this is going to be quite tight, and that's okay. And when you're doing it, when you're making your template up, as I showed you originally, you may have to then take it back in and out to make sure that it fits properly. And I'm using an awl here, which is one of those pointy, sharp, pointy things. And yes, be careful because they do prick, and I have made myself bleed from using them before. But they're one of my favourite tools for poking holes when you're using brads, or for doing things like this where it's a bit tricky and your fat fingers can't get in. Then I use the good old awl, and that helps me get things situated where they should be. It's also a tool that I use. Here's a little tip for you. If you've made a layout and you don't want to lift everything off to glue it back down, or whatever you're doing, then what you can do is just use the awl, pick up, let's say you had a flower, pick up the flower like that, stick a bit of glue underneath it, and then stick it back down, and that way nothing moves. So one of my tips for you today. So what we've got here now is the frame, and at this stage it's quite boring, isn't it? So what we're going to do is embellish it up. I'm just having a wee look over here for a minute. Oh, thank you guys, it's lovely to be chatting to you. So next thing we're going to do is, in preparation, I'm grabbing out, this is just some baking paper, and I like to use this when I'm doing some gessoing. Gesso, well, we always have this conversation in New Zealand. Is it gesso? Is it gesso? So I don't know. So I say both and then make a point of it. And so what I do is I grab that out. I grab out that, and then I just dip it in so my foam brush is nice and covered, and then I just start painting. And what we're going to do is make sure that it's covered really well. So you can see that there's no right way to do this. It's just getting it painted. And some of it you'll see will be slightly more painted than the other bits, and that's okay, because this is going to be quite a shabby chic look to it. And that's exactly what we want. And what I've done is I did some last night, and if you'll see up close, it is, you know, it's not perfect, but it does look really cool. And that way, if it is just a, you know, quite a natural brown colour, you can change it to whatever colour you want, because of course you know that you can colour gesso as well, eh? Another tip for you. Now I'm just going to put this aside. Oh, and the reason I'm using this is because when it dries, you know how things dry and sometimes you put them onto paper to paint, but when it dries it sticks. Because it's baking paper, it doesn't stick. So that's another tip for you. So anyway, we're going to put that aside because we've got that ready now. And what we're going to do is start cutting out some things that we're going to need. Now, first things first, I'm using a wrought doily, and that is going to go into the bottom of the metal die, and I'm just going to stick it on down. And you can get these in New Zealand, you can get these doilies, it depends on where you go, but you can get them from scrapbook shops, and you can get them from what we call $2 shops, which are the cheapo shops, or party supply shops, anything like that. And it just gives a bit more prettiness, is a word, or a bit shabby chic look. And on top of that, we're going to add in some die cut items. And what I've done, I love using dies, is I've got this one here, which is a Spellbinders die, and it's a labels die, and it comes in a variety of sizes, as you can see here, and that way you can cut and layer them, which is something else that I love to do. And so what I've done is I've used the large one, which will go on the bottom, and then the next size up, which will go on the top. And again, to save time, what I've done is I've pre-cut them. And in this instance, I've used this green paper with the bikes on it. It's green and red. And I have used this paper here, which is, it's just got a bit of text on it, like a newspaper. And on the side of it, let me see if I can find it for you here, because it's one of my favourite pages out of this Something Blue collection. And probably not, because I've used it so often. It won't be here. Let's see. Oh, no, I've used it all up. Oh, here it is. I knew I would find it. That's it there. So this is from the 6x6 pad. So again, another good reason to use a 6x6 pad, so that when you're cutting out things like this, you don't waste a whole piece of paper. Okay, and then I just grabbed the old chalk ink, and I'm using Old Rose. And the reason I'm using Old Rose, and I'll do this in a minute too, is that this is a very charcoaly grey sort of colour, and it matches in really well with the distressed look of the metal frame. So I'm just carrying on the matching sort of distressed look. And again, you can tell I'm just being quite rough with it. There's no perfect way to do this when you're distressing. It's all about just making it look a bit rough. And so that's what I'm doing. When I do this, I'm just going to have a wee look. Yes, I see that Misty has said that she loves something blue. Me too. That's one of my favourites. Although, hey, aren't all the Prima products gorgeous? Okay, so once we've got these done, I'm just having a wee look here. We're just going to layer them up, and what I'm going to do, again, what I want to do is get lots of dimension in this frame. And so I grab out I've got foam tape, but I also have sheets of quick mount, and I also have little dots. So it depends on what you like to use, but you must have, these are my sticky scissors, and they're the only ones that I use for sticky stuff, because if I use these, then when I go to cut something that's special, it won't cut very well. So my sticky scissors get used, and just pop this on the back. I do like a bit of dimension in my projects, and again, I mean, you're not going to see it, so it doesn't matter how it looks. Pop this off. And to be honest, see how I had to pull off 3 bits there? That's why I quite like the sheets of it, because you can just cut out like a whole square that will fit onto a piece like that. And then pop that in the middle, and that's ready to go on. Oh, I should have closed the edge of that, shouldn't I? Now, just to let you know, we're doing a bit of a giveaway today. And anyone who wants to can come and have a look at my blog later on after the class. Don't leave yet! And I'm going to be giving away this particular item that I'm making now. And I will send it to whoever wins. I'll just do a random draw to anywhere in the world. And there we go. So we have got our main base, which is layered on top of some cardboard to give it a bit of height. We've got the doily, and we've got 2 of the frames that we cut out using a die cut. Now the next thing we're going to do is cut out another die, but this is the special die that I was telling you about that Prima have put out. And for those of you who know my work, you'll know that I love doilies, even though some of my friends make fun of it because they don't. It's an ongoing joke with us. And this is just the most gorgeous die, as you can see. Look at this. This is one of the papers from Something Blue. It's the pink stripy one. And I've cut it out previously just to show you, because it's so intricate. You do need to spend a little bit of time afterwards just cleaning it and getting it perfect. But I saw recently on someone's blog that they have invented a machine, and you can it's like a rolling brush, and it takes all the pieces out. So I might have to look into that a bit more. But with this, the easiest way, I'm going to do this backwards actually. The easiest way, once you've got it cut, the easiest way to get it out is just to smash it on the desk like that. Yep. And it bounced all over the place, but you can see it just pops straight out. And the reason for that is that it has been, and this was the first step that you would normally do, and I've lost my awl, here it is I have put a piece of baking paper, or waxed paper actually, on it first. And so you have the die, and then you have the wax paper, and then you have your piece of paper that you're cutting. And what that does is it makes it really, really simple to get all of these tiny little pieces out. Because this is waxed, it just pops off. And so you can see they're all just falling out. So once, I'm just going to put that aside now, and we're going to pop this into our project. And I will probably, in this instance, just put a little bit of glue here, and then just, there's a nice round piece around the outside, so I'll just put a little bit around there where it will stick. And because this glue is so good, you actually don't need a lot of it. We're going to put that roughly in the middle. And you can see we're just getting layer upon layer upon layer. And it's starting to look really cool. Okay, now what I'd like to do is get the inside done before we do the outside. I'll just get rid of all this rubbish. How are we doing there? Ah, there you go. It's called an all-in-one tool. Is that what you're saying? From Spellbinder is the one that does the rolling and takes things out. Yes. Now, what I was saying is that, and I'll just show you briefly here, is this is some wax paper. It's like baking paper, but it's waxed. So there is a difference. Okay, so you've got your dye and then your wax paper with the slippery piece or the waxy piece on the dye, and then you grab a bit of paper and that goes on top of that, and then it goes through on your sandwich through your machine, and that is going to make it really easy to get all your pieces out. Okay, so moving right along, we are going to decorate the inside of our metal frame. Actually, I'm going to start with some flowers on the bottom down here, and what I'd like to do is just tip these out. See how many, I've already used about half of these, and see how many there are still left in here. Aren't they gorgeous? Quite a big one, I think. So one there and one there, like that, easy peasy. Okay, and then see, beauty is you just shove them back in here, and it doesn't matter if they get all squished up, but it's easy to get them in and out, and they look really cool on your shelf, you know, where you scrapbook. Pop them up there and they're really pretty. Okay, so we've got that. Now, as I showed you earlier, these it is Tatiana flowers come in different colours. I've used these coral ones, and I think I'll stick with that. But you can use the white, and if you use the white, and if you had some of the coloured ones, you could perhaps colour them if you wanted to, or you could use some of the chalk inks and do it that way. Okay, so we're going to pop that one there, and I'm going to pop a little one just over here, and you can start to see layers forming, can't you? And then I might actually stick another one just up over here as well. So I'm just getting a rough idea at the moment of how it's going to work, and in fact I like that, so we'll stick with that. And see, this is what I do, is sometimes if I don't want to move it, then I just grab my little awl, pop it up. I think I need some more glue, it's running out. Okay, do that one. Pop this one down. And what I like to do, here's another tip for you ladies and gents, is I pop these down and glue them in the middle of the flower. And the reason I glue them in the middle is because sometimes if I'm gluing as I go, I don't know where I'm going to end up. And so I may need to pop other things on underneath later on. And if you glue it right out to the edges, you can't do that. So if you just glue them in the middle, then it gives you plenty of room to just pop things on underneath as you go. Just going to twist that so it sits in nicely together. There we go. And I had another one. I'm going to pop that in too. How are we going for time? Oh yes, did I show you how they sparkled? See all around the edges? It's got the most beautiful, all around here it's a glittery, and it's almost like snow. It's got a white edge to it, and it's just beautiful. Okie doke. So we have got a few flowers popped in there, and it's starting to look like the original. But I think it needs a bit more. What do you reckon, girls? I reckon it needs some of these little ones. Now these ones, remember, were the Misgodivas, which are, I have to say, are one of my favourite flowers. And I just keep on ordering them over and over again and pop them into all my projects. because they're so much fun. And they're so, like I said, they're so little that they pop into any space. Like you're going to see, I'm just going to pop that down there. And it just fills a space that otherwise may not have been, may have looked fine, but I think it just adds a little bit extra. And let's pop another one over here and over here. And I think that might be enough for the moment, but what I'm going to do before I stick them down is I want to add in some leaves, also cut from paper. And what I, again, because I love my die cuts, is I use this particular one, which is the foliage die from Spellbinders. And you can see you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different leaf shapes, which is one of my favourites. And this one here is fabulous because you can either use it as a whole or you can cut pieces off once you've die cut it. Now, because this one is not as intricate as the last one, you don't need to use your baking paper or your wax paper. You just pop it through as normal. And to save time, I've already cut some out, and I've cut this one out from the beautiful green paper, which has the writing on it. It's on the back of the roses paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that just in up here, like so. Yep, perfect. In fact, I'm going to, where's my foam tape gone? Ta-da! I'm going to pop some foam tape on it. And that'll just give it a bit more height, because we've stopped getting so much height with all the other stuff that's gone in. And yeah, I do love my foam tape. Oh, that piece wants to stick on to me. And that's going to go in there like so. And let's stick those other flowers down now that we've got that in the right place. I'm just going to have a little look. I'm sorry guys, I've just gone quiet because I'm just checking out what you're all chatting about. Hello everyone! Now, just let you in on a little secret. My husband said that he might pop in today. So if you see someone called Andy, that's him. So be kind if he pops in. I said you have to come and say hi to the ladies if you're gonna watch. You can't just hide in the background. Okay, what do you reckon, guys? We're getting there, aren't we? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the picture out at the moment, because if I'm giving this away, did I tell you I'm giving this away? Good time to do that. Hang on, let me show you. Oh, hang on. Trina's live with Prima giveaway. After the show, come to my blog, www.trinamcclune@typepad.com, and leave me a comment, and in a couple of days I'll choose a random winner and I will send this to you, and you can put your own photo in it, and you can, well, actually if you want to, you can use it as it is, or you can pull it all apart and do your own thing with it. Okay, so no photo, so why don't we get on with decorating the outside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that old road again and just rough it up a little bit. And I just do this because it just adds a bit more depth to it. It already looks pretty amazing, in my opinion, my humble opinion. But why not? We all like to have a bit of fun with it, get our fingers dirty, eh? And it's as simple as that. Like, I was just very random. No special rhyme or reason as to how that worked. And then we're going to, oh, we need the most important thing. We need to cut out this piece here, which is a beautiful piece of paper, and it's got all the roses on it. And I wanted to try something different, and so I actually used this piece here, and I cut just all along here until I'd cut it out, and then I placed it in here until I found the right size and the right space. And what you're going to need to do, I wanted it just to stick out a little bit further, so I just added a bit of paper on the back because it was quite close to the edge there. And you just need to round off the edges, so that, because this is quite round under here, and then you can just pop it in. And so what I'm going to do is glue that in, and again, this is where this glue comes in really handy, because it sticks to anything. And did you know, here's another little thing, that this glue, when it's dry, it rubs off. So it doesn't matter if you get it all over your page, because you can just wait till it's dried and rub it off. And the beauty of this, as you'll see, is that there's a lip around here, and with that lip you can glue things and attach things. And that's what we're also going to do with our painted lace. So just going back a step, we've cut this from here, it's from the 6x6 pad. We've already cut our die cut, which is down here from the inside part where it's all newspaper print, and on this side we're using this part here for our decoration on the right hand side of the frame. And then what we're going to do, as I said, just pop this on, and I'm just going to measure and make sure I've got the right sort of size before I cut it. I reckon about here. And then this is where my paper comes in handy again, because I don't really want the glue going everywhere. Is I just pop this down and then pop the glue along the side. I mean, potentially you could do the inside of the frame, but I think it's just a bit tricky doing that. And the good thing is, once you've painted the lace, it's quite hard, so it's going to easily adhere and stay standing upright without any problems. The only problems are that my fingers are getting sticky, and that's my issue. And this again is where it all comes into place. And see how I'm just using it, and you don't even have to use a pointy end, you can use the other end as well. Doesn't matter, whatever works for you. And just pop this into its right place. That's the only thing I don't like about this glue, is it's so stringy, but I do love getting it off my fingers afterwards. Is anyone else like that? I love glue on my fingers. It makes a really cool silly thing that I am. Okay, popping this around. This part is probably the trickiest part of the whole project, and it's only because it's sticky and gluey. In fact, look, I've got too much there, so I'm going to cut a little bit extra off now with my sticky scissors. That can go in under here. And there we go. I'm going to get rid of that over here now. So we're just about there. We have got the inside done, and then we've got all the beautiful flowers, and we've painted up some lace to make it a different colour and to match in a bit better with everything else we're doing. We've hand cut or fussy cut this little bit here, and we've stuck it all down. At the same time, we've used some of Prima's chalk inks, and we've just given this a little bit more of a distressed look, and we've just got 1 or 2 more things to do and we're there. So let's do those bits. What I've got is I've got this cute little charm, and this is just something I picked up. It's something I use in my classes, and yeah, I just found it. I can't even remember where I found it, to be honest with you. And we've got another piece of die cut leaf, and we're going to use one of the clocks, and I think because of all the pinks we might use this one here. We'll give it a try and see, shall we? Now, sorry, I've gone quiet because I'm just reading what you're all writing. We're talking glues. Oh my goodness, glues. It's such a personal preference, isn't it? Okay, so what we're going to do is I've just got some muslin. This is also known as medical gauze. It's just very thin fabric. And I just buy it from, we've got a shop in New Zealand called Spotlight, and it's a bit like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, I guess, would be what I'd sort of associate it with. And it just sells all materials and craft items and curtains and all that kind of stuff. And so I just grab it by the roll, because I use a lot of it, and I just wanted to add some in here just to give it a bit more romantic shabby chic look. And I've got my sewing scissors. Can you guys tell that I'm addicted to scissors? I've got my sticky scissors, my sewing scissors, I've got my plastic scissors, oh, have you seen these ones? These ones that cut, you know, like, and make little lines. I must show you these while I'm just here. Look at this. And so you get a fringe. Anyway, I'm off topic now. So let's go back to our muslin, and I'm just going to cut a little piece off and then work out roughly about where it's going to go. And then I'm going to again use my awl and just pull out some of the bits to fray it. And along the bottom, yep, I just poked myself there, never mind. No blood, so it's all good. And that's going to go just in here. And when I stick it down, I will probably just use this glue just to stick along here and along the edge of the metal frame. And then I will squish it all up so it fits. And do this like so. And then you don't have to worry about cutting extra bits off or anything like that. And it doesn't matter if you have a bit overhanging anyway, does it? Okay, so we've got the muslin stuck down. And then I've got my clock. What I want to do is just to make it a bit of fun and to use our other clock to tie it all in together is I'm just going to use some baker's twine, and I'm just going to cut a bit off actually. See, here's another little tip for you. If you can do this, I put it down and I tie it, and then I don't have to cut it first, because what I'm doing is I work out how much I need before I cut it. Because sometimes you might be running out and you might need to save every little bit that you've got. So that's perfect. And then the bit that's still attached, I just cut it off and pop it away. And now that I've got the right size and we've got our little bow on it, on the wooden clock, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the back, which is going to stick it, because I don't want it moving about later on. And we are going to glue it down anyway, but I'm just going to do that. And pop this back down here. And then what I'm going to do is attach my little charm, my clock charm, and I'm just going to put that through here go. There we go. And you could do it as part of your bow, but I'm just going to add it in now like this. And that also makes sure that the knot is nice and tight. So there we go. We've got our charm attached to our clock. And then we're going to pop this back onto here. Now before I pop that in the corner, I'm going to pop one of my die cut leaves on underneath. And in fact, I'm going to put one on the other side as well this time round. Like so. And stick it all down. And then I'm also going to grab one of my Miss Potiphar flowers and pop it in the corner. But I'll do that after I've stuck these down. And the good thing about the muslin is that it's already sticking things down where we glued earlier. It's already adhering the leaves. There we go. And let's do a bit more on the back so that can get stuck onto the frame. Done. And which flower are we going to use? I'm going to go with this one, I think. That can just pop in the corner like so. Now, another little tip, which you guys of course will know because you're clever, but I often get wrong, is when you put the clock on, make sure it's facing the right way. The number of times I've put a clock on and it's had the 12 at, you know, down here or over here or wherever, and it's in the wrong place. I don't think many people would notice if it's on a layout, but on something like this they probably would. So just make sure your clock's the right way around. So what do you reckon? We're just about done. The last thing that we have to do is create a banner across the side. And so here's what I used earlier on this one. Now these banners you can buy directly from Prima, already done and cut like that. And they've got the little what do you call these, eyelets in them, and they're beautiful and I use them all the time, and in fact I've just ordered some more because I love them so much. And they come in a bigger size as well. Oops, daisy. But I like the little ones because they seem to fit on pages, on cards, on projects like this. They're fabulous. Now, as I said, I've just ordered some more because I used the last of them. So what I'm going to show you is using a stamp, how you can make your own. And what I did is I just got a piece of canvas, and again I just bought it from Spotlight, so it's kind of like hopefully your Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something like that. And I cut out a few pieces of triangles, just triangles. They're just like a banner. And once I'd cut them out, this is where the stamping comes into place. You can grab one of your favourite stamps. And in this case, I liked the text that was on there, so I used a text stamp, and I will, I'll try and find the number of it for you in 2 ticks, because it's really pretty. Here it is. And it's from Engraver Collection, and it's number 563042. And what I did is I used Old Rose, which is again another chalk ink, and my trusty baker's paper, and you just dab it on and pop it onto your cut piece of canvas and pop it off, and you get a really effective, sorry, I'm just trying to get the light out of the way. You get a really effective look on your canvas. So if you can't get any more of those canvas pieces, you can make them yourself using plain old canvas and any of the Prima dies. And now, because I didn't do it, I actually was meant to get some eyelets and pop them in here and show you how to pop them on, and I have totally not got them handy. I haven't done it. So all you need to do, and I'm going to get, where is it? I'm going to get my punch, and it's just here, and see if this works. Actually, it might not. We're going to use one of these old-fashioned punches. It's a hole punch. Have you guys been scraping as long as me? You've got these old tools. And I've just used the little punch because they're little banners. And we're going to, again, use my awl to get my hammer out. And actually, we're going to need a bigger one than that, but not as big as the big one. So the medium size. I love how you can do that and just swap them out. And you can see I haven't cleaned it out for a while. So again, my trusty awl comes into play. Grab all the bits out. Here we go. Excuse the noise, ladies. And pop the holes out. Now you could, if you wanted to, just leave it like that. You don't have to get some eyelets. Okay, so I'm just making 4 of these into a banner that we can string across the frame. Oh no, am I annoying you guys? Sorry guys. That is noisy. Okay, and then if you've got some more of the baker's tape, you can use that, or I use embroidery floss, and all you have to do is grab a piece out and pop it through, and with this, just be careful of which way you put it, because you probably don't want the embroidery floss across the top, you want it across the bottom. So another wee tip for you. And you just line them up one after the other. And, oops, I've just done it that way, haven't I? So it needs to go down and across the back. I'm just trying to shade you from the sun so that I block it. And while I'm doing this, I'll just have a wee look at what you're all talking about. Because I love seeing what you're all chatting about. Looks like fun. We're talking about scrap groups. Yay! Oh, eyelets. Yes, they were. They were all the rage, weren't they? Oh my goodness. I remember doing a whole layout with eyelets. And in fact, when I first started submitting to magazines, they had like an eyelet gallery so that you used your eyelets, and then they were in, there was a whole project, a whole article on eyelets. And this is just coming apart a bit here because it's embroidery floss and that's what it does. And once we've got those all thread across, we can literally attach it to the frame and we're done. The embroidery floss doesn't like me today. It keeps on coming undone. That's why you keep on seeing me licking it and cutting it. But again, what I have done in the past is use my awl to push it through. Can you see it's one of those tools I use over and over and over every time I scrapbook. Okay, so we have got our wee banner ready to go, handmade, which I do love to do. I know it's wonderful buying all pretty stuff, but it's also really wonderful making your own stuff. It makes you feel really good. And then what I did is I just popped it across here like this, and I tied it at one end. And I went around a couple of times just so it looked kind of cool. It's gone all quiet, hasn't it? Can you tell I'm concentrating? I'm not very good at tying knots. See, I've had to do that 3 times already. Okay, that's done. And I'll chop that off in a minute. And then this one, in fact, I'm going to chop it off now because it isn't getting in the way. This one, once you've got this in the right place, I just brought it around to the back of the metal frame, chopped it off when I knew how much I needed, and just used some glue. And what I did is I just used some, because you're not having to open the frame to do anything, I was quite happy gluing it down. But this is where you get into the frame if you're wanting to put things in and out of it. So you can see it's got the little things where you can pull the back off if you have to. Because of how beautiful it is and because of how thoughtful Prima have made this, you don't need to do that. You can get access from all sides. And so what you can do is just glue a little bit here like so. And take this around the back and glue it down. And if you want to, you can use like a tape or something just to hold it in place until it dries. And you can just use some of these old photo splits and pop that on the back like that, and it just pops it and keeps it in place. And just having a look, what do you reckon? I think we're done. And all you guys need to do now is come to my blog, leave a comment, and what I'll do is I'll pick a winner and someone will have this win their way to them. And also, before we leave, I've got some announcements. Art Venture happenings, woohoo! Art Venture California, January 6th and 7th, 2015, right before CHA. Guess what? I'm going to be there, and I can't wait to come and meet you all in person and talk to you and chat with you and show you how to do more stuff like this or other things. I still don't know what's going to be, what wonderful classes I'm going to do for you. So, but I'm assuming, because it's just before CHA, we'll have all the new product there for you to play with in the classes. But don't keep me to that because I'm just guessing. But there is also one for Atlanta in October, and we've got Sharon and Ken, and I've forgotten off the top of my head who the last person is who's going to be teaching there, but registrations are open now for both of them, so would love to see you there. Please do come along. All you have to do is go to the Prima Marketing Flowers on Facebook and click the events page for all the info. And there's a new Facebook group for Prima Art Venture, so please join us there as well because you'll get to see all the latest and greatest news that's coming up. And the next show which is coming up is with Cassia. Now I'm sorry Cassia if I've pronounced your name wrong, Krasminska, and that's on Tuesday, May the 22nd at 11 AM Pacific Time, Mixed Media Shadowbox. Sounds great, and that's featuring the new Prima dies too, so very exciting times. I do love Prima. Thank you very, very much. Oh, hang on, I'm just going to come back up here. Hello again, it's me, or actually should I say goodbye. Before I leave, you can have a wee look outside my window and see what a beautiful day it is. And I don't think you've got to see my chickens. Let's have a look. here we are, back here. Thank you very much for coming along. I really appreciate you attending the show today, and I look forward to seeing if you come up with any of these yourself. Just a reminder, this is where the giveaway is, so feel free to come along, say hi, and I will look forward to giving this away to someone. Oh, just before I go, actually, I better have a quick look. Any questions? Oh, someone's saying, seeing me at Sens. Woohoo! Yes, that's in a couple of weeks here in New Zealand. I'm also going to be teaching in Brisbane. Is anyone here from Australia? Because I'm going to be in Brisbane at the Scrapbook Expo in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And all my classes on Saturday are sold out. There's only 2 spots left well, 1 spot in one class and 1 spot in another class on the Sunday, but there are some times available on Monday. So if you're coming to Brisbane, come along, say hello. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm just reading all your comments, and it's really nice. So thank you, and we'll see you next time, because I will be back in June. Yay! Bye.